How's everyone doing tonight? Great. Question you're going to get asked about 9 times tonight. So, just figured I'd let you know. I can tell you guys a little bit about myself. I just turned 49 years old. So, some of you older people know that my bills come more a month than I do. So, I do have 7 kids. That's because I enjoy playing with the box they come in. I'm really sorry, young man, for what you're about to hear. I really do apologize. So, growing up, I knew I was a little weird, a little odd, so I went and got tested, and it turns out I have OCD. Not a surprise to anyone in my family. But as I grew up, it grew as well. So I went from having OCD to obesity. So, you know, and having that is, I have a tendency, because I have OCD, I hyper-focus on things. So, I went ahead and I did some testing on some stuff that's really important for all the guys in the room, especially you young men. You're going to want to take notes. That's right, I'm talking about edible underwear. Through all my testing, I found out that the cherry and strawberry ones are the 2 best flavors. The blue ones, like the blueberry, they leave a stain, which is really good if you go swimming and forget your suit. Nobody knows. But my biggest thing that I found out is if you wear them for 3 days, they taste like regular underwear. So that's stuff you guys don't need to find out. I did it for you. Okay? So it's real important stuff. So, as one thing that I used to say when I was a kid, I'm not really good at push-ups, pull-ups, or chin-ups, but I'm great at fuck-ups. So I got the market on that one. Excuse me. So I'm going to get into a bit here that might be a little inappropriate for the young guys. Has he heard some bad stuff? Your generation is the one that's all licking acids, right? Right? All right. This is one of the reasons why I'm glad I'm not dating. I'm happily married. When I was a kid, if you called someone an ass licker, it was an insult. And it was a good insult. But now it's a choice on dating apps. Right? It's, you know, you can be at a party, you double dip a chip, they'll fucking kill you. You can be talking about eating ass, they're okay with that, but don't double dip a chip. That's more important information, you should write that down. So. I am so gonna kick right here. Growing up, my great-grandfather was my idol. He was, you know, greater than God to me. He always told me there's only 2 ways to argue with a woman. Neither work. Don't try either of them. And being 49 years old and married, I understand exactly what he says and means. And yet I still do. Because I don't know any better. So it was like the other day I was in the kitchen, I was washing dishes. My wife was in the living room. And I said to her, I says, you know, babe, you know, it's been a while. I think, you know, like it's kind of getting a little out of control. I think you should diet. Yeah, I said to my wife, I think you should diet. Well, next thing I knew, the blade went by my face, stuck in the wall, and she misheard me. I was talking about her hair. I think she should dye it. But she heard the word diet. Sir, have you ever looked at your partner and said you should diet? He's like, don't bring me into this. Don't fucking bring me into this. I get it. You're a smart man. You know, they used to say, you know, not all men are smart. Some stay bachelors. Not that I'm looking at anyone in particular. I wouldn't do that. So, no problem. On Sundays, do you guys like the door knockers? You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Let me explain. How many of you have been sitting at your home on a Sunday or any day and you get the knock on the door? You open the door, 2 people dressed very nice in suits carrying the Bible. Right? This happened to me a couple weeks ago. So I'm sitting at home, the knock, I open the door. One girl looks at me and you could tell she was really passionate about it. She looked right at me and said, have you found Jesus? So not even thinking, because I'm an ass, I looked right at her and said, what, did you guys fucking lose them again? Start using bigger nails. Add some chains. Because I'll tell you right now, the rocks aren't working. If you keep losing this guy. So. They haven't come back, so I don't know if I scared them away. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. 8 years ago, I got a phone call a guy wants to get. I was told that I have an advanced colon cancer, and if I don't get it taken care of, I'm going to die. So I went and I had the surgery, been tested and everything. I beat cancer. I'm here. I'm cancer-free. Thank you very much. So because of that, every year I got to go back and I got to have a full physical. And oh my God, I feel sorry for the kids sitting here that's going to see this. I am so sorry. So last year when I went for my physical, I walk in the room. I know the drill. I got to get naked. I'm sitting on the bed. I put my feet up in the stirrups. One thing you ladies have never told a guy is once you pull out on those, they lock. So I got my right leg in and I bring it out and it locks. So I'm like, what could happen? So I take my left leg and I bring it out and I'm locked. Keep in mind, I am very fat and I am naked at this point. So I'm all exposed. So my doctor walks in, sees me in the predicament, says nothing, washes his hands. He goes, I'm going to start off by checking for a hernia. You guys know how they check for a hernia? You guys boys don't know this, but I'm going to tell you. They grab your junk and they tell you to cough. Okay? It's not like your girlfriend will, but it's very awkward. Especially because he just washed his hands in the coldest water in the whole universe. And boys, we all know what happens when you're around things that are cold. A little shrinkage. I already have body disproportion issues, right? So he grabs a hold of me. Keep in mind, I'm spread wide. It's hanging out. He's right here. Hanging on to my boys. Cough. Because his hands were so cold, caught me off guard. The best I could get up was a... So he looks up at me. I look down at him. In class, you ever involuntarily wink at a girl? No? Yeah. I winked at my friggin' doctor, and it wasn't just a little. It was like a full-on. Keep in mind, he's still hanging on to me. He's still right there. So I did what the most natural thing to do was. I put my hand on his head. And then as he went to speak, I run my fingers through his hair. So next week I get to go for this year's physical. You ladies remember those bedazzlers back in the 80s, late 80s and 90s? You know, where you put diamonds and rhinestones on everything? I'm thinking of getting one. Vajazzling up the thing. Ball jazzling, or whatever you want to call it. Just think about it. Anybody here a gynecologist? No, just me? Okay. I'm telling you, if a girl comes in for an exam and she's all sparkled out and she's all diamonds, she cares. You know she took care of that, right? So I want to do the same for my doctor. I want to let him know, like, I'm taking care of it. Until I read the instructions. You know when they apply those diamonds and those gems and all that? That's not glue. Well, it's glue, but it's hot glue. He knows where I'm going. I'm not putting a kettle prod on. Never mind, I won't say that. He already looks disturbed enough. I'm done? I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife just looked at me and said, you're fucking done. Anyway, that's my time. My name's Tommy J. Warren. Thanks for coming up. Thanks to the Salty Dawg for having us.